Whatever happened to SpongeBob? Oh my god. This episode of SpongeBob SquarePants sucks. Here are the reasons why I hate this episode in my opinion. For Act 1, the episode starts while SpongeBob wakes up on a usual day. He looks out his window and sees the mailman riding by on his bike. He says hi to the mailman. This greeting causes the mailman to get distracted, and a truck crashes into him. After that, SpongeBob wants to spend time with his friends and go to work at the Krusty Krab as usual. However, his mere presence triggers disastrous mishaps that end up upsetting them. He accidentally breaks Gary's shell when hugging him too hard, crushes, ruins and smashes Patrick's cake for his mother's birthday, disturbs Squidward's beauty sleep, as usual, destroys Sandy's new invention, a robot, and deep fries Mr. Krabs and 2 of his dollar bills. Each of these is met with SpongeBob being thrown out and or furiously told to go away, followed by being angrily called Idiot Boy by all of his friends, with the exception of Gary, who just growls and hisses at him. Afterwards, a devastated SpongeBob, who believes that all his friends now hate him and want him out of town and even feeling guilty for causing so much trouble, decides to leave Bikini Bottom altogether. After bidding goodbye to Gary, leaving him a year's supply of food and everything at Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob leaves while miserably calling himself Idiot Boy. At night, SpongeBob is scared by mysterious figures in the shadows. While he runs from the creatures, SpongeBob falls off a cliff and bumps his head. After noticing a lump on his head, SpongeBob gets knocked unconscious by his bindle and gets amnesia. Back in Bikini Bottom, Patrick, who is oblivious to how much he hurt SpongeBob's feelings earlier, is knocking on SpongeBob's door, wanting to borrow hot sauce for his milkshake. He is approached by Sandy, who is wondering where SpongeBob is. Hearing that Patrick has no clue where SpongeBob is after knocking on his door for the last 3 hours and having no time to wait for him to answer the door, Sandy decides to karate their way into SpongeBob's house. After entering, the two find Gary largely overweight and moaning from eating all the food that SpongeBob left him. Being asked what happened to him, Gary shows Sandy and Patrick his food bowl with a note from SpongeBob inside, explaining that he has run away so that he wouldn't bother anyone ever again, which leaves both of them feeling remorseful, especially after the note reminds them that they called him Idiot Boy. The next morning, SpongeBob regains consciousness and notices a fish couple who thought he was taking a dirt nap as they try to steal his possessions, but they say that they were organizing them. Hearing one of the fish call him by name that was on the clothes, SpongeBob becomes confused and unsure. After being asked if he doesn't know his own name, SpongeBob explains to the fish couple that all he knows is that he hit his head, but now he can't seem to remember anything. Hearing this, the fish couple realizes that SpongeBob has amnesia and decides to take advantage of his memory loss so they can steal his possessions by telling him that the items aren't his and give him a new name, Cheesehead Brown Pants. However, SpongeBob feels something in his pockets and then reaches inside them to find a bottle of bubble soap, which causes the couple to run off. SpongeBob is confused by this, then notices a city nearby. In Bikini Bottom, everything is in chaos, especially the Krusty Krab, because SpongeBob is not there to make the Krabby Patties. Mr. Krabs asks Squidward where SpongeBob is, as he is freaking out that there are no Krabby Patties being made. Then they both get into an argument after Squidward insults Mr. Krabs. However, after hearing Sandy and Patrick arriving, Mr. Krabs and Squidward are asked by them if they have seen SpongeBob. Hearing that none of them have seen him, Sandy shows the note SpongeBob left while informing Mr. Krabs and Squidward that he has left town due to causing trouble and that he is not coming back. Mr. Krabs takes the note SpongeBob left from Sandy and reads it. After reading the note, Mr. Krabs sees that SpongeBob did write it, and that he left because everyone called him Idiot Boy. Mr. Krabs not only panics because SpongeBob is gone, but also because he feels guilty for pushing him away. and he wonders how he will survive without his best fry cook. Feeling guilty for being mean to SpongeBob, Patrick and Sandy break down crying. On the other hand, Squidward is delighted and laughs in delight, even stating that he would have slammed his door in SpongeBob's face even harder if he knew what would happen. Deciding to do a group meeting with just himself, Patrick, Sandy, and Squidward, Mr. Krabs kicks everyone out of the Krusty Krab, telling everyone that the restaurant is closed until the group can find SpongeBob and bring him back to Bikini Bottom. Meanwhile, SpongeBob wanders into New Kelp City, the city that he saw nearby before, where he bumps into a businessman. Believing he tried to steal money from him, the businessman furiously tells SpongeBob that if he wants money, he should get a job and insults him, as Act 1 ends. For Act 2, the episode starts while SpongeBob later gets hungry, but discovers that he is broke and attempts to get a job. However, each time he gets a job, SpongeBob uses his bubble-blowing skills to help him, resulting in him being fired. Back in Bikini Bottom, Sandy shows her friends her new invention that can track SpongeBob, the Sponge Tracker. Squidward, not wanting SpongeBob to come back, purposefully destroys the device with a hammer, claiming he dropped it. Furious and not buying his blatant lie, Mr. Krabs berates Squidward for his actions and then orders him to find SpongeBob, but he still refuses to help, even being unfazed when his boss threatens to fire him. Desperate to not only get his restaurant open again, but also wanting his friend back, Mr. Krabs comes up with the perfect method to get Squidward to cooperate with the search for SpongeBob. He offers him a jeweled Faberg egg as a retirement gift, which would complete his collection. However, Mr. Krabs tells Squidward that if he wants it, he'll have to bring SpongeBob back to Bikini Bottom. This offer finally convinces Squidward to help with the search party. In New Kelp City, SpongeBob's bubble-blowing activities attract the attention of the Bubble Poppin' boys. This menacing street gang has scared the city into never blowing bubbles again, since bubble soap burns when it gets in their eyes. They decide to show SpongeBob, who has no idea who they are and doesn't know that bubble blowing is forbidden, what they do to rule breakers by beating him up. Although he's scared, SpongeBob quickly escapes. He runs off, and the gang chases him until he is cornered. SpongeBob then traps them in a large bubble, sending the gang out of the city, which frees the town from their reign. As a result, SpongeBob is rewarded the position of mayor of New Kelp City by its previous mayor, who immediately retires. Meanwhile, Patrick, Sandy, and Squidward are searching for SpongeBob as they decide to stop at a gas station to see if anyone has seen their friend. After noticing a newspaper with SpongeBob in it, Patrick hugs it with joy just by having SpongeBob's likeness on it. When he looks at it and sorrowfully sees the paper is totally blank, Sandy reveals to him that all the newspaper ink came off on Patrick's belly. She reads the print and sees that her friend is now mayor of New Kelp City. Back in New Kelp City, SpongeBob is giving a speech while Patrick, Sandy, and Squidward are in the audience as they've come to retrieve him. After SpongeBob gives his speech, Sandy wonders about the name he gave himself, Cheesehead Brown Pants. She then uses a megaphone to get his attention. She tells the surrounding citizens and her friend that she doesn't mean to dampen the mood there, but Bikini Bottom needs him back. However, due to his amnesia, SpongeBob doesn't know who Sandy is or the town she is talking about. Sandy goes up on stage then apologizes for lashing out at him before. Seeing Sandy more closely, SpongeBob becomes surprised to see her, and she thinks he is talking about finding him, but he corrects her. He is surprised about her species, although he thinks she is a weasel. Hearing this, Sandy is shocked that SpongeBob does not remember her. Sandy then thinks that SpongeBob is pretending that he doesn't remember her. Despite not remembering her, SpongeBob does apologize to Sandy and comments that he probably would remember her, although he still thinks she is a weasel. Patrick comes up on stage, hoping that SpongeBob hasn't forgotten about him, then shows him half of a friendship tattoo he has while he has the other half. However, seeing the tattoo, SpongeBob gets confused as to how he got that, then explains to the two that all he remembers is hitting his head, blowing some bubbles, and he is now mayor. After hearing SpongeBob's explanation and realizing as to why he called himself Cheesehead Brown Pants during his speech, Sandy is convinced that her friend really doesn't remember anything, as she concludes that he got his memory loss when he hit his head. Wanting to bring her friend home and help him, Sandy asks SpongeBob to come back with them to Bikini Bottom as she explains to him that the familiar surroundings of the town will bring his memory right back. However, SpongeBob refuses because everyone in New Kelp City needs his leadership. When SpongeBob gets into a limo to attend a meeting that he is late for, Sandy tries to stop him from leaving, but is surprised when the limo comes back around and is shocked to see that Squidward managed to hijack the vehicle. Sandy and Patrick get into the limo, and Squidward drives everyone with SpongeBob back to Bikini Bottom, looking forward to the bejeweled egg Mr. Krabs promised him. They take SpongeBob back to the Krusty Krab, but he still can't recall anything. Although he is surprised to hear that SpongeBob doesn't recognize the eatery, Mr. Krabs thinks he is kidding and then gives him his spatula. However, Mr. Krabs realizes that SpongeBob really lost his memory when he was surprised to hear that he had been a fry cook before. Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob that he's the best in his business, then asks him to get flipping. However, not entirely convinced of everyone's claims as to who and what he is, SpongeBob nicely tells them that he would like to, but he wants to return to New Kelp City and run as mayor, claiming it is a modest job. Squidward then demands the Fabberg egg from Mr. Krabs since he brought him back on a technicality. Mr. Krabs agrees and reluctantly hands Squidward the jeweled egg. As Squidward marvels on his new jeweled egg being so beautiful, he slips on the greasy spatula that SpongeBob put on the floor, causing the egg to fly out of his hands. The egg shatters as it hits SpongeBob on the head, much to Squidward's distress, and the impact gave him another lump. After getting a hold of himself and telling a concerned Sandy that he is fine and just has a headache, SpongeBob realizes that his memory is returning when he recognizes the restaurant. Overjoyed that their friend got his memory back, Mr. Krabs, also on behalf of Patrick, Sandy, and Squidward, tells SpongeBob how sorry they all are for running him out of town because of the harsh stuff they said about him, but they are glad he is back. Even though he wants to stay in Bikini Bottom and accepts his friend's apology, SpongeBob knows that New Kelp City needs their mayor. Everyone is confused and distraught that SpongeBob will leave again, except for Squidward, who is delighted at this as he feels that it will make up for the loss of his Fabberg egg. At that moment, a news report comes on the TV saying that the bubbles in New Kelp City are causing mayhem and that he cannot see with all the bubbles. A thug then threatens SpongeBob if he ever comes back to New Kelp City. Upon hearing this, SpongeBob decides to remain in Bikini Bottom forever. Before Act 2 and the whole episode ends, Squidward opens his head and throws his brain in a trash can. And that's why I hate this episode. I don't know who likes this episode. But do you know who hates this episode? Andres the Roblox and SpongeBob fan 2K12. He made a rant on it after I did his request. Well, I agree with him. Screw whatever happened to SpongeBob. And screw Stuck in the Ringer. Pizza delivery is 33 million times better than whatever happened to SpongeBob. End of rant.